So the first thing which we need to understand in power sharing is the definition of power sharing. Clear that what is power sharing? For that, yes, can anyone put in the chat box quickly, just a very small answer, just in one line. What is power sharing? Let me see your answers in the chat box. What is power sharing? Nobody knows the answer. Division of power among organs of the government, right? The division of power among the different bodies of the government. Division of power in general is power sharing. The division of power among, yes, dividing power among political power, different levels, division of power. All right, good responses, thank you. So division of power, power sharing is when we are not concentrating the power in one hand, in one organization, or in one authority. Clear? And regarding this power sharing, we have done two examples of Belgium and Sri Lanka. First of all, we have read that the composition of population of Belgium, and we have read about the composition of Sri Lanka. We know that both these countries have people belonging to different castes, communities, languages living over there. As a result, from time to time, certain tensions arose between the communities within the country. Tensions arose within the country, within the communities who are staying in these two countries. Clear? That is Sri Lanka and Belgium. This is the basic drawback. जो उसका हमने कि ये जो multi, they had belonging to people belonging to different categories. Clear? Maybe language, caste, any ethnic. And now what we have to study is that after this problem arose, fancy problem of tension within the community, what was the method adopted by Belgium and what was the method adopted by Sri Lanka to solve the problem which they had to face. So moving on, next we have majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. Now majoritarianism means that imposing the will of the majority on the minority. Clear? And in Sri Lanka, this was followed by the Sinhala community to impose its will on the Tamil by making various regulations, acts, for example, clear language, giving priority to the language, then religion, then university positions. This we have done. Now, what was the result? When we are not, the minority community is not happy with what is happening with them. Clear? So the Tamils in Sri Lanka grouped themselves, created organization, and slowly they protested, and as a result there started a civil war in Sri Lanka, which proved very detrimental not only for their economy, but many people lost their life. And as a result, the bad effects of this civil war could be seen on Sri Lanka for many years. The reason why Sri Lanka had to face this was because Sri Lanka did not adopt power sharing. Clear? It concentrated the power in the hands of one community. So we read one line that imposing the will of the majority on the minority might seem as a good option in the short run, but in the long run, it proves very disastrous. Clear? तो उसका जो था result श्रीलंका को face करना पड़ा, देखना पड़ा. Okay. Now, next is the example of Belgium. We know that people belonging to various language groups were living in Belgium, right? And as a result of that, the French and the Dutch people came in tension with each other over the benefits which one community got being in minority. But the Belgian government made modifications in the constitution in such a way that it accommodated all the communities in such a way that they lived peacefully till now. So Belgium adopted the method of power sharing and it retained अपनी कंट्री में उन्होंने पीस बनाए रखा. Clear? We have already done that. What were the various methods adopted by Belgian government? That is the accommodation. उन्होंने accommodate किया. किसको accommodate किया? सब लैंग्वेज ग्रुप्स को इस तरीके से accommodate किया कि किसी को भी प्रोटेस्ट करने का, क्लियर, किसी को भी गवर्नमेंट के साथ डिससेटिस्फाइड होने का मौका ना मिले. एंड a new community government is also a new government type of government which Belgium came up as a solution to the problem to solve the issues of various language groups, right? So next we come to that why power sharing is desirable. Why it is desirable? We have two reasons, that is the prudential reason and the moral reasons. Prudential reasons means those reasons for which we need to apply proper reasoning. Proper reasoning. Plus, minus, pros, cons. ठीक है? इसका अच्छा क्या हो सकता है, इसका बुरा क्या हो सकता है, किसका? If we don't share power, what will happen? We have the example of Sri Lanka. Clear? Then, if we share power, we have the example of Belgium. तो prudential reasons क्या हैं? ये हमें सोचने पे मजबूर करते हैं कि अगर हमने कोई स्टेप लेना है, हमने का मतलब है गवर्नमेंट, क्लियर, विच हैज द अथॉरिटी, तो उसने कोई स्टेप लेना है तो स्टेप लेने से पहले उसको उसका प्लस माइनस अच्छी तरह से सोच लेना चाहिए. Moral reasons that democracies cannot be successful without being power sharing. These are the legitimate government. आपने पढ़ा है ना, whole 9th standard you have read about democracies. In democracy, what you read, it is a legitimate government, accountable government. तो legitimate और accountable का क्या मतलब होता है? Legitimate because it has a legal aspect. People have elected the government. Accountable, it means that whatever policies, acts the government makes, it should be in consonance with the people over which they are ruling. As it is given in your book, I'll just read out that line, that power sharing is good for democracies. Power sharing is the very spirit of democracy. A democratic rule involves sharing power with those affected by its exercise. Affected by its exercise, kaun hai? People. Clear? We are only affected by what the government is doing. kaise rules, regulations, kaise government banati hai? We are affected by it. So it is the moral responsibility of the government, especially the democratic regimes, to involve the people. Kaise? Through election. हम कैसे indirectly कैसे involve होते हैं? Because we are electing people to the legislatures, we are electing people to the parliament, to the Lok Sabha, right? And on our behalf, they are the ones who are making the laws. Clear? So prudential and moral reasons. Then we have different forms of power sharing among different organs of the government. We know legislature, executive, and judiciary. And next is the vertical division of power, center, state, and the local. In the local, we have governments in the rural, also the Panchayati Raj in India. Then it is the power sharing among different social groups, as we have the example of the community government in Belgium. Similarly, you have done the policy of reservation in India also. हमने अभी historical chapter में revise किया था about electoral, जैसे separate electorate के बारे में भी हमने discuss किया था. So finally, what was decided? That some seats will be reserved for a particular category of the people so that they are not at a disadvantage. So similarly, in our constitution, there are certain constituencies which are reserved, and time and again, I have told you that like Fukwara is a reserved constituency where we stay. And next is the power sharing arrangements among political parties, pressure groups, and movements. I told you political parties, okay, it's one of the via media of power sharing. Pressure groups are not same as political parties. Those are organizations which try and influence the policies of the government from outside, and movements are those movements which start for a particular cause. Clear? And the Indian Constitution gives us the fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression. Clear? इसके चलते ही हम protest भी कर सकते हैं, organizations भी बना सकते हैं, but our protest has to be peaceful. And we have the example of the farmers' protest, which is going on since long. Clear? So the government needs to resolve such issues. अगर हमारे पास ये freedom of speech and expression नहीं है, तो it means कि हमारे जो अंदर जो हमारा गुस्सा है, जो हम protest करना चाहते हैं, that takes a violent shape. You all might have seen that what happens that when we are cooking food in a pressure cooker में खाना बनता देखा होगा ना अपने किचन में, तो उसके ऊपर एक विसल रहती है, एक वॉल्व होता है, सेफ्टी वॉल्व जिसको हम कहते हैं, जिसमें क्या होता है कि जब बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर, जितना वो एक प्रेशर कुकर में आ सकता है, वो उसको बियर कर सकता है, वो उसके अंदर रहता है. बट जब नहीं होता तो दैट विसल इज ऑटोमेटिकली लिफ्टेड एंड द प्रेशर इज रिलीज्ड. क्लियर? तो वो किस लिए होती है, वो सेफ्टी किस लिए है कि इफ द प्रेशर विल रिमेन इनसाइड और वो कुकर के अंदर प्रेशर और ज्यादा बनता रहेगा, तो देयर विल बी अ ब्लास्ट व्हिच कैन बी हार्मफुल. तो इसी तरह हम लोगों की फीलिंग्स होती हैं हमारे अंदर, अगर हमें कोई उसको निकालने, हमारी फीलिंग्स को बाहर निकालने का हमारे पास कोई जरिया ही नहीं होगा, तो कहीं ना कहीं आके क्या होता है, हम इसको कहते हैं सैचुरेशन पॉइंट. ठीक है ना? कई बार आपने सॉइल में देखा होगा, आपके घर में पॉट्स होंगे, अगर आप पानी डालो, कई बार होता है कि पानी पॉट के ऊपर ही खड़ा रहता है, उसके अंदर नहीं जाता है, सॉइल में बड़ा टाइम लगता है पानी को जाने के लिए. तो इट मींस द सॉइल इज वेल सैचुरेटेड. ठीक है? तो अभी उसमें वो कैपेसिटी नहीं है पानी को अंदर सोक करने की. क्लियर? सिमिलरली हमारे पास एक लेवल आता है कि जब हमारा सैचुरेशन पॉइंट हम जिसको कहते हैं कि वो खत्म हो जाता है, एंड सडनली वी रिएक्ट इन अ वेरी बैड मैनर, एंड दैट कैन बी violent as well. So it's better that power sharing should be there, and all democracies are very successful because they have adopted power sharing. Clear? So this was about power sharing. If you have any doubts before I start with the revision of the next chapter, development, I'll take up your doubts. Please put your doubts in the chat box. So there are some important glossary terms. Again, I'm telling you, your answers should be examples of power sharing on page number 10. No, that's not required. For the time being, that's not required. These kind of information which are there in your chapter, that is for reading and understanding it further. Reading and understanding it further. Clear? So we are not to learn them for question answers, not to be learned. Any other doubt to anyone from power sharing? Otherwise, we'll proceed with the chapter of development, because tomorrow we will do the geography chapter. So I hope your doubts can be taken up and you will be ready to revise and prepare for the test. Okay, prudential and moral reasons. Beta, if you have the political science book, would you open the political science book? That will be much easier. I'll read out, you can mark. See, power sharing is good because it helps to reduce the possibility of conflict between social groups. This is one of the prudential reason. Possibility of conflict. Clear? क्या होता है कि अगर हम पावर शेयरिंग होती है, क्लियर, तो उससे क्या होता है कि हमारे आपस में जो मतभेद होने के कारण लड़ाई होने के चांसेस होते हैं वो कम हो जाते हैं. पॉसिबिलिटी रिड्यूसेस. नेक्स्ट इज पावर शेयरिंग इज अ गुड वे टू एंश्योर द स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ पॉलिटिकल ऑर्डर. स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ पॉलिटिकल ऑर्डर का मतलब क्या होता है कि हमारी गवर्नमेंट जो है, सरकारें जो हैं, वो बनी रहती हैं, वो अच्छी तरह से फंक्शन कर सकती हैं अगर हमने प्रॉपर वे से. अब हमने पंचायती राज क्यों इंट्रोड्यूस किया था? पंचायती राज हमने इसलिए इंट्रोड्यूस किया था कि हमारी पॉपुलेशन को देखते हुए, क्लियर, यू नो दैट वी हैव मैसिव स्टेट्स with population which is much larger than the population of a country. Every year we add one Australia to India. इमेजिन करो आपके हमारी स्टेट्स में इतनी ज्यादा पॉपुलेशन है, तो ये सारी पॉपुलेशन समटाइम इट कुड हैव बीन डिफिकल्ट फॉर द चीफ मिनिस्टर टू मैनेज. दैट्स व्हाई हमारी जो स्टेट्स हैं उनके विद इन भी डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं, क्लियर, और उन डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स का कंट्रोल किसके पास है? डीसी, डिस्ट्रिक्ट कंट्रोलर्स के वो हैं, ठीक है, डिप्टी कमिश्नर्स होते हैं. उसके बाद फर्दर हमारे डिविजन्स हैं, म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशंस में हमारे पास एडीसीज, एसडीएम्स होते हैं, ठीक है. उसके नीचे हमारे पास फिर पंचायती राज में सरपंच होता है. तो इसको हमने इतनी सारी डिविजन्स इसलिए की हैं कि हर एक कंट्रोल करने वाले अथॉरिटी वाले पर्सन के पास जो एरिया है वो छोटा है, लिमिटेड है, एंड दे कैन टेक अप द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ द पीपल. तो ये क्या है? ये प्रूडेंशियल रीजंस ही है. हमने जब हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकर्स ने जब ये प्रोविजंस हमें दिए, we have the three lists, the union list, the state list and the concurrent list. तो ये क्या है? ये सारी डिवीजन ही है, ये पावर शेयरिंग है. ऑल राइट, सो दैट इज प्रूडेंशियल. हमने इस पे सोच विचार किया और हमने देखा कि इतना कि इंडिया की इतनी ह्यूज पॉपुलेशन है, जगह जगह स्टेट्स की लैंग्वेज अलग है, तो लोगों को समझने के लिए हमें नीचे लेवल तक जाके पावर शेयरिंग करनी है, हमें डिवीजन करनी है. That's prudential. Okay. What page number you are asking, beta? Himani, please repeat the page number. From where I am reading, page number 6. This was page number 6. And moral reason, I already read that what is the moral reason? That it is the responsibility of the representatives that they are elected by the people. Therefore, while framing any kind of policies, they must keep the welfare of the people in mind. And otherwise also, India is a welfare democracies, clear, socialism hai, where the concern of the people comes first. So shall we now move on to the chapter of development? All right. So first of all, in the chapter of economics, development, we have what? The definition, clear. We have already discussed the definition, progress. In a way you are moving up, it can be in any area. Then what development means to different people and different goals, clear. We have discussed this earlier. I'm repeating again, because people are placed in different situations in life. Their capabilities are different, clear. As a result, all people residing in a country or anywhere in the world cannot think at the same time in a same way. Therefore, there will be differences because we are made up in that way, clear. Our capabilities are different, so naturally our goals will be different. Goals means that what we want to achieve. हम क्या हासिल करना चाहते हैं, मेरे लिए डेवलपमेंट क्या है, किसी और के लिए डेवलपमेंट क्या है. देयर आर सो मेनी डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज ऑफ पीपल लिविंग इन द सोसाइटी. तो हर एक का जो डेवलपमेंटल गोल है वो सेम नहीं हो सकता. क्लियर? We did the examples on page number 4, economics development, and then we know, I told you that those text part which is given in bold in your book, those only come as question from this chapter, that how different people can have different developmental goals. You have to explain with the help of correct example. Examples are very important in this chapter. Okay, next is income and other goals. Clear? We read about the per capita income. We also discussed this, that how income is an important criteria, but it is not the only criteria. Clear? To judge or compare. चाहे हम एक कंट्री के विद इन कंपेयर कर रहे हैं किसी को, चाहे हम कंट्रीज को आपस में कंपेयर कर रहे हैं, on the basis of which countries are categorized as developed, clear, developing and underdeveloped, on the basis of their per capita income. Per capita income की आपको definition how it is taken out, it is very clearly given on the page number 8. इसको हम एवरेज इनकम भी कहते हैं. क्लियर? उससे पहले हमारे पास है कि अगर पर कैपिटा इनकम या इनकम ही अकेला गोल नहीं है, तो व्हाट आर द अदर थिंग्स व्हिच पीपल आर लुकिंग फॉर. सो पीपल लुक फॉर मिक्स ऑफ गोल्स, दैट इज बिसाइड्स द इनकम देयर आर अदर इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स like security in life, good environment, friendship, clear, and togetherness. There are so many other things which cannot be purchased by money. So that is material and not material goods which play an important role in our life. I gave you the example of this pandemic. Now, money is not important for us. We all have seen. हमारे घर में पैसा पड़ा हुआ है, हमारे बैंक्स में पैसा पड़ा हुआ है, ठीक है ना, वो पैसा कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा हमारे लिए. क्लियर? हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या कर सकते हैं? वी कैन परचेज मेडिसिन. इफ वी आर समवन इज सिक, वी कैन टेक देम टू अ गुड हॉस्पिटल. हम इसी पे स्पेंड कर रहे हैं ना. वी आर नॉट स्पेंडिंग एक्सेप्ट फॉर ईटिंग और बहुत ज्यादा एसेंशियल. क्लियर? उसके अलावा अब हमें क्या है कि मेरा कोई भी फैमिली मेंबर मेरे से दूर है, मेरा कोई रियल ब्रदर सिस्टर है, वो दूर है, कहीं और काम कर रहा है, जो डिफरेंट कंट्रीज में हमारे रिलेटिव्स बैठे हैं, हमारे फैमिली मेंबर्स बैठे हैं. आजकल हम क्या विश करते हैं? दे शुड बी सेफ. ठीक है, एवरीवन शुड बी हेल्दी. ठीक है, जितना जल्दी हो सके ये जो कोरोना का वायरस है ये खत्म हो जाए, हम सब फिर से हेल्दी हो जाए, फिर से ये सब कुछ माहौल ठीक हो जाए. तो ये क्या है? दिस इज नॉन मटेरियल डिजायर. ये हमारे नॉन मटेरियल डिजायर्स हैं जो हम पैसे से नहीं खरीद सकते हैं. क्लियर? सो पैसा भी इंपॉर्टेंट है, but at the same time there are other things which play an important role in our life. Clear? Then next, again this is for personal development, individual development. Ab national development mein similarly people look at the development differently. What may be development for me, for one person, may not be development for the other person. It may prove destructive as well. तो इसमें हमने जो बिल्डिंग ऑफ डैम्स का एग्जांपल किया है, बड़े बड़े मॉल्स बनते हैं, तो वो किसकी प्रोग्रेस होती है? जिसने उस मॉल को बनाया, जिसने उस जगह को खरीदा, जिसने फ्लैट्स बनाए. वो जो लेबर है उसका टाइमली है, उसको थोड़े दिन के लिए एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिली, बट वो लेबर का स्टेटस नहीं चेंज हुआ. क्लियर? तो वो काम जरूर करता है. So the more benefit goes to one category of people and not everyone. So my idea of development for the nation cannot be same of or the person who's a casual laborer, a person who's a landless farmer. Clear? That will differ and that can also be conflicting. Then the World Bank measures the countries and decides the categories which I have already told you on the basis of per capita income. But besides the per capita income, we have seen that on page number 13, clear, we have seen that life expectancy, literacy rate, all these are very important. Similarly, we did the example of Kerala, Bihar, that how infant mortality rate, and that is health and literacy, that is education, play a very important role. अपने 9th standard में people as resource में भी ये चीजें की थी. Is it clear? So there are some important definitions which are important from this chapter: infant mortality rate, literacy rate, net attendance ratio, HDI, and life expectancy, and of course per capita income you have to learn. So these are the important definitions which you should learn. So these are given in your book. You can easily learn from your book itself. Clear? And next is the public facilities. Public facilities are those facilities which are provided by the government for the people, for the society. Like we talk about the civil hospital. Clear? Civil hospital is a public facility. These days, this has come into a lot of focus because of the corona pandemic. Clear? The government is making all efforts providing of vaccination, free vaccination in the civil hospital. ये क्या है? ये सारी public facilities हैं which the government is providing to the people as a disaster. This time this is being treated as that. और इसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने अपने सिविल हॉस्पिटल्स, कितने और सारे जैसे स्टेडियम्स हैं, होटल्स हैं, कितनी और सारे ऐसी जगह हैं जहां पर ये कोविड को ट्रीट करने के लिए हमने इमरजेंसी हॉस्पिटल्स क्रिएट किए हैं. तो ये क्या है? ये सारा पब्लिक फैसिलिटी है. क्लियर? सो हेल्थ केयर, अब हमें इंडिया में वी नीड टू फोकस अ लॉट ऑन द हेल्थ केयर एंड एजुकेशन. सो दीज आर, इफ द पुलिस, जिसको हम कह रहे हैं ना आजकल की फ्रंट लाइन वॉरियर्स कह रहे हैं, हम किनको कह रहे हैं? पुलिस को कह रहे हैं, डॉक्टर्स को कह रहे हैं. डॉक्टर्स आर फेसिंग द थ्रेट ऑफ देयर ओन लाइफ, बट दे आर ट्रीटिंग ऑल द पेशेंट्स round the clock. They are on duty. Similarly, education is a very important aspect, clear, which is going on continuously in the society. Though we are sitting in our houses, you are sitting in your houses, we are teaching from our homes, but this process is going on. So the human beings can be usefully, very usefully contribute to the society if they are literate, if they are healthy. So besides income, your health and literacy play a very important role, and in this government plays a very important role by providing good public facilities. Yes, so any doubts in this chapter, please put your doubts in the chat box. And then we have sustainability of development. Sustainability of development, of course, we have done in geography also. That is, to do development, it is required, but not at the cost of the present generation. We must save our resources. Our development should be in such a way that we do not overuse the resources and harm the environment. Sustainability of development. So you must know the definition, and you must know we have already done so much about conservation of resources, 4 R's. Any difficulty to anyone from this chapter? I'll take up. Please put your queries in the chat box or doubt, or if there is something else. Tomorrow I'll be sharing the practice assignment with you, and you have to solve that. Clear? Then the next day answer key will be shared, so that you once have the practice of all these. So in between, if you have any doubts, you can always send your doubts in the group or on my personal WhatsApp number. So I will take up your doubts.